That a little loaded, the question. Why? Because me personally, I will have some instances where I feel proud. Right? This is me as an individual around the art form, and there's many different stories I could give as to why I feel proud. For instance, I came into the business in a time where soca wasn't played outside the carnival at all. For those who don't know, I started DJing. I came from that whole era of where dancehall was dominating Trinidad and Tobago. We were sound system in the sound system era, but I fought to get the music rotated outside the carnival, and I feel proud that that mission was accomplished. Whereas now, if you go about on the weekend, you must hear a soca set from a DJ. I can take it to 15 years ago, where you go out on a Saturday, you're definitely not hearing no soca outside the carnival. Look right now in the background what we hearing, soca playing. Those are things that never used to really happen on a regular basis, and now we're in March. This is the 8th of March, you know, so that is a win. So over the years, I've learned how to appreciate these small wins. On a global stage, where we're supposed to be, no, we're not. There are many different reasons, or people have different perceptions as to why we are not there. One of the biggest reasons is numbers. You understand? Numbers is a textbook reason as to why we're not recognized on that platform to say no, a Grammy nomination. That's a number-based thing. In terms of the human side of it, my personal belief is one of the reasons we're struggling so much is we like party and not the art form. As Trinbagonians, right? We enjoy going to a good fit, liming on our weekend, having a vibe, but we don't really enjoy the music. Like how many people would admit that they pay for soca music? They download it regularly. They know everything about soca. Not only Trinidad. For me, when I say greatest art form, I don't really mean just Trinidad and Tobago. I listen to soca from every region. Once a man going klalang kang kang kadang and singing, I more than likely 97% of the time, 98% of the time I know him or know of the person, because that is how much I'm invested. So to answer that question, are we where I think we could be? No, we're not. But we have made a lot of strides. Well, yes, they have a responsibility. Not only earlier, they have a responsibility to release music consistently, but they've been doing it. But again, because we don't consume soca like that, that's the issue. Because I could use me as an example. Over the past, let's say past 5 years, I've consistently did soca shows year round. Different platforms where you could showcase and hear all the new music. But if you as the consumer are interested in it only carnival time, you can't then come back now and blame the artist. But again, because we've been brainwashed into believing that it's seasonal. And I have been taught early out in my career that Trinidad really and truly is just the dress rehearsal for the world. That's what we do. We get ready to go and take what we do to the world. Trinidad Carnival is a dress rehearsal. That's what it is. It's like we preparing the world for carnival and for all the music, and this is the dress rehearsal. From the time you leave here, a real artist leaves Trinidad and tours, start the cycle. The circle ends in October when he comes right back to Trinidad. So that's how it goes. It's like this. I consider this a dress rehearsal for the world. But the consumers of soca and carnival in Trinidad, they don't know that part. They're just interested in it from December to February, whenever. You understand? But as an artist, you have this. So that's why artists struggle when they hear statements about, oh, they're not producing music. And they're like, are you crazy? I've been working all year, bro. When I leave Trinidad, I'm working constantly. Or you can tell me I'm not doing this thing. But that is the disconnect. If you are not involved, but funny enough, sadly enough I should say, we don't have the mechanisms in place. Like there was never any soca labels like invested in promotion, like how R&B and hip hop had promotional items where you, even though if you're not involved in hip hop, you saw billboards. You never drive downtown and see no soca artist on a billboard promoting a single or promoting it's never been part of our culture. So everybody just got so complacent into waiting for January to hear what this one have and what. And the sad part about soca for me is soca for Trinidad and Tobago too. We don't promote the genre, we promote individuals. So it's never about soca. It's about the individual. So it's like, I like this one, I like that one, I like that one. As opposed to if you compare it to the reggae, a reggae festival don't care who is on the bill. The festival is reggae. So they're inviting the world to come and hear reggae music. And inside of that space, you will get some phenomenal artists, which is how I feel about soca the same way. In the soca space, if we did more soca shows, the artists already, not that they're not relevant and wouldn't matter, but people already coming for the music, and the people who producing the music will obviously, the greatest will always stand out. That's the thing about anything. In sport, in the NBA, you don't get to the NBA easy. everybody playing NBA is not a superstar, but there's always a LeBron, or there's always a Jordan, or there's always a Kobe. It will always have that. Everything is like that. But soca is the only thing that we don't study the art of soca. All we think about is who is this one and who is that. So we hire people. We don't hire for the music. And sometimes if you really sit down and put it on a piece of paper and you work it out, you see people in small pockets put on an event, and when you get there and you enjoy yourself, you're like, wait, so-and-so real bad boy. But this person real mash up boy. That person would always mash up. But again, and that's where all the conversations come now about cliques and mafia and all them sort of nonsense. You understand? Those nonsense stem off of that. We just perpetuate it by encouraging the nonsense. But there are individuals who really for the thing and have been working effortlessly over the years for the thing. I always say, when I started saying great is the art form, was me trying to let the people and younger people understand that there's more to it than just what all you're seeing on the surface level. When I say great is the art form, I mean it on all aspects. If you're in the arts in any which way and you're passionate about it, you have to continue driving and pushing that envelope. And that's me as again. These are all my opinions. What I say is not Bible, but I've been fortunate, I said, to be in it. Like I make jokes. I was baptized in 1999 into soca. That's a joke I make, right? That is when I was conscious about me doing it 100%. I never had a job. This has been my job since then to now. You understand? And in that timing, I've created and been part of so much phenomenal things. Like I see now this thing about, oh, should have festivals. I gave people soca for summer. You understand? Which had over 18,000 people in the middle of summer. Those things been done before. Myself and Iowa had something called Soca Broadway. We created a venue to allow artists and everybody, all the practitioners, to have their own events in one, so everybody could have break it out. You understand? Those things have been done. They talk about mentorship. Soca Star was a mentorship program. That out of that spawned the last batch of artists that we know now. The Voice, the Second Stars, the Pretties, the Orphans, and all of that. So don't say things are not being done. Things have always been done, but people have their own agendas, and everybody speaks from a place of when they have an issue. So if you have an issue, it's like, okay, now you want to vent or you want to avoid because things are not going your way. But my little irk is, when you support anything and things are going your way and you're on top, always remember that you don't want it. It's not for you. It's bigger than all of us. So when you're on top, that is when you should be investing most of your time and energy in securing the position of soca. Not yourself, but soca. Once that is secured, you'll always be right. Because my view on it, if soca good, everybody who are around soca will be great. Why if you dancehall and reggae artists getting on or they getting on? Because they realize if the genre not good, they will be hungry. If the genre of soca is in a brilliant place, everybody around it will get their piece. You will. That's just how it is.
You mentioned the work that you have done in the past, and that's a huge part of your legacy. Any thoughts towards bringing back Soca Star or anything like that?
That's been a conversation, especially since after this season. It's been one of the biggest conversations. I've had the most sit-downs I had in a long time trying to talk about, is it possible? The possibility of doing it is there. The way that it was done before needs to obviously change. You understand? Like I was fortunate back in 2019 to work to be on the production team or even Soca Monarch at that time when Fian was at the realm. And there's so much things that can happen in the space. Everybody's so caught up in the whole government funding. Government funding is just a small aspect of it as well. The artists also have to be ready to take one for the team, pretty much. As I said, you have to remove self and think art. If you remove self and think art form, it will move way further and way faster than we're seeing it moving now. But you cannot afford to continuously put self in front of it. And that is the issue I have. A lot of people put self in front of it. If you do it for the art itself, you'll be in a much better position.
Tell me what you mean when you say the artists need to be prepared to take one for the team.
I mean, like for instance, I was never part of the whole defend your crown culture. That's why if you remember Soca side never had a defend your crown. When you win, you move on. That's how it is. And that is where it leaves space for it to grow. So when I say take one for the team, artists need to understand, but listen, if we're trying to save it and create a legacy for the younger ones coming up, let us have the competition. Let us all come together and make it happen. Let us get the people back into the stage. Like you could use Grenada as a template. Grenadans are paranoid about Soca Monarch. It is part of their DNA. Friday in Grenada, the entire of Grenada comes out and shake the stadium because they understand it is an opportunity. And what I love about them, on a random Friday night in Grenada, you could see a brand new Soca Monarch you never seen in your life, right? Our culture does not allow that. How we operate is that this superstars who you supporting. I'm not saying you're not a star. A star will always be a star. A star cannot be an orange. You understand? So why would we not try and continue as individuals to push that? So for me, it's about having conversations with the people, the players involved to get the brand back up. And when the brand is back up, find different. Like I always believe that Soca Monarch shouldn't be in a competition like this. We are at the point that we've done it so much years. Soca Monarch should be a showcase on Netflix. It's supposed to be a document series. You follow 15 artists for the year, and at the end of it, you have a grand show, and you put on a presentation for the world to understand. And every year, what young people aspire to is to make it on that stage, not necessarily just to be part of the elite that does that on a Carnival Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever day they want to do it. And it's not a you win, you first. It is the 15 great songs of that whatever year is showcased, but it's followed and produced and documented properly, all these steps moving forward. And you get to that stage when you build a movement. You see, like, let's use a couple artists, for example, like how Voice has been moving. Tasia, imagine Tasia's been here since 2014, right? All of a sudden it's like Tasia's been here. So if somebody was taking the time, they could have had Tasia over the past 5 years documenting that journey. And you know, beautiful if they look on big screen, seeing a young man who plays all the instruments, who writes his own music, produces his own music, do that from since then to now. And then this year we could have a nice documentary, and you would have seen Marshall and Calypso. That is so much history there. Michael Tasia, so much history there, all documented, and bam, we showing the world that this is why we are the Mecca. But you let these opportunities from the wayside because everybody prefer to put self in front of the art. So that, again, this is just my personal take. What I say is not Bible, but this is how I believe it could work. I will say, well, other than my kids, I will say Soca Star. Why? Because a lot of the things that people don't understand about that particular thing, Soca Star, what they see on the ending was never the beginning. I was never supposed to, first and foremost, I was not the host. That was not my purpose there. I came in there I had the tools for the show. When I met Peter had the concept and the idea. We never take that away from him. The concept of Soca Star was Peter's own. He had the concept of Soca Star, but what he didn't have was the machinery. At the time, I had just come back to Trinidad. I was opening Iowa George's Bashment Radio. And the station was going to be 100% Soca. Why they came to me? I was the only person, because I was doing an internship at JW Records in New York. That's a Soca record store. I was transferring records to CD at the time. So I was studying how could I play Soca for 24 hours without playing back a song. That was the mission I was on. So I was actually collecting data. All this time I didn't understand what data collection was, but I was actually doing it. Right now we advance into the data world, we know data collections is a big thing. But back then, all I was thinking about is I have this plan to play Soca 24 hours and listen back to make sure I don't play a song twice. Is it enough music? Because that was the argument at the time. And I was able to show that we can play Soca for 24 hours without playing back a song. And in doing so, I gathered so much of music and so much artists. When I got back to Trinidad with these 600 and something CDs and all these unknowns, and everybody sending music to me because it was bubbling under that I was doing this 100% Soca station. So everybody keeps sending music to me. I said, Peter, well, this year I was like, what? So what we did is got people and to bring structure to it. Like take a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet, and put names, telephone numbers, name a song, to bring structure and say, listen, let's try it, and call people. And it was overwhelming. We had over 300 and something kids came out with their music, and out of there is where we started to see talent and drive around the country and pick it out. And for the first 3 years of Soca Star, contrary to popular belief, was done for $0.00. You understand? And I tell people, you cannot put a figure on somebody's time. And my time, that at the time and effort that I placed into that show, is, I will say, I deserve $100 million. Because I went sleepless nights, I wrote plenty scripts, I learned on the go. I didn't know anything about filming. I had to fund myself to go to school to learn about production. We had to fly away and go to shows like X Factor and things to see how it's done, how you do B-rolls, cutaway. We were learning as we go and trying to create a show with 2 cameras that was owned and the rest borrowed, and also trying to negotiate with corporate Trinidad to help give us funding, because in the back of my mind, coming up from the streets. I was raised on the I was selling in the market from 13 years old. I understood what young men see, and the passion I had at the time was, how can I make soca look palatable to a 20-year-old? We're in our 20s, how can it? Because I grew up watching Candid students as old men. When I was rolling with my mom and thing, and you're driving around and they say, well, they're showing you that is Kitchener, that this one, what should they use to dress? Full formal. And the next thing I struggled with was soca had no identity. Remember, if we linemen here, right? If two Rastaman walk in here with their head turned up looking like Capleton, we're gonna see them singing reggae. If you see some youth men come in with diamonds on the neck and flip back, them hip hop men. If 5 fellas walk in here now and they soca men, how we know them? It had no identity, so I was fighting to let young people see it and see the value in it. So that was my mission, but not from a host perspective. That's in trying to take it, because I was fortunate to travel the world and do soca. Because again, I give all my love and props to Iowa. Iowa took me at a tender age out of Trinidad at 19, and I toured for 13 years. I see the world. I finished 2 passports a year touring with Iowa. So I understood. And it always bothered me. Every time we come back to Trinidad, you never felt it. I saw it over there and never felt it here. So when I had the opportunity to do soca, so I say, hell yeah. And I gave all my time and energy, because I was so thirsty in a sense of a word, to show Trinidad how big this genre is and how good it can be. And to me, that is my greatest legacy. Why? Because look at lives it helped. Look at people who are living successful now because of it. You understand? When I met Voice was playing pan in the back of St. George's. Earth and Alves was actually star at the time. Right? I talking about, people might remember when what's his name again? Umi Makano won Soca Star with a song that was Chucky Gordon's song. It was a combination that we took Chucky off of and put Umi on it, because Umi had the flair of what we was trying to do with reality TV at the time. We had to talk about, again, I brought into the space of television many moons ago about the struggles and the of being gay, the LGBTQ community on television, in a space where we're trying to sensitize people to understand what young people go through. So I tackled real issues 15 years ago. What they're going. So again, it's not about. So when I hear sometimes, what irks me is when people jump on the wagon now. Like I say, I love criticism, but I would take criticism from somebody who's constructed something. I like constructive criticism. Why would I go to butcher to ask him how to build my house, bro? It don't make sense. How you is cut chicken? How can you build my house? So why would I sit down and talk about business plans, cadastrals, about laying foundation with a, I'm not taking anything away from a butcher. If you own a chicken depot, you create your chicken depot, is successful, but that's not the area. But when I sit now and see on social media all these people who have all these things to say about soca artists and song, and your song and producer, bro, where are the 5 people you took to the Billboard charts? Where are the 5 people you took to Soca Monarch and won? Where are the 5 people, and there's some people too who jump on wagon. You cannot come to me and the first artist you work with is Marshall Montano and tell me you are a superstar in your field. They're not. You worked with a superstar in the field. You are not a superstar as a producer, as a writer. You understand what I'm saying? If you bring to me an artist that's why some producers have real respect for that. That's why I love GBM. GBM came into the space where everything they touch, the people didn't have to be a brand name, the song was shot. People like Static, I've seen them build artists from nothing into something. System 32 will get the same love because they build themselves from nothing into something. Before, Mikal as an individual boss, people might know Mikal gave all you Nyla and Kess. You understand? He gave you all so much of hit songs before. You understand? Before he got a big song. So things like that, people like Skinny Fabulous. I met Skinny when he was going to school in Toronto. Gamel Doyle is a force to be reckoned with. And he's not from here. I can take you over the island with everybody I've worked with over the years who's been great and done a lot for the genre. Asa Manton. You understand? We're talking about Boise. Out in Grenada, a superstar. But he's been moving the dial for the genre. These people don't look for the self-recommendation. They're big in their countries, yes. They travel the world and make tons of money. But when you hear them speak about the job, they speak about Booyah, you hear the passion. We have this thing where when you sit down and I listen to soca artists doing interviews, they talk about themselves. Which really bothers me. My thoughts with Tat is 15 years late. Because if you're talking a space of, there is no uncensored songs that play in Trinidad radio ever. Even though there are violent songs that some DJs try to censor because it's hype, but it's uncensored music they'll be playing. You all are trying to come and do something now where it's been that horse out the stable so long. YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, the kids get their music somewhere else. If you're trying to talk about, like, they're trying to focus on the Trinidad genre, I don't speak much on those guys because they come from a place where they created something that they had no other choice to create. They were forced to do that. You have to remember, when we did Soca Star, we showed people themselves in a different light. Right? The whole hype of Soca Star, we were showing young people themselves on television. When you look at the people who are moving the Darling Dancehall, this new guy that just came out, Raja, 18 years old. When you look at an 18-year-old driving Porsche and Range and wearing jewelry and looking good, and he's saying that this is why I have this. And a 14-year-old is looking at them, they feel that is what I have to do to get it. And they have to understand that is the issue. The issue is not the censorship, but we've been hearing bad words and bad things in music since before time. Don't come and try and cry to Bob Marley now because Bob Marley is current because of a movie. While Bob Marley was singing all them positive songs, it had men singing all kind of craziness at the side. I grew up listening to Sitting Up on the Mountain Top, my back, my gun, pun, cock. I never pulled no gun, no way. You understand? If you're talking sexual explicit lyrics, look how much things Lady So tell us I was rude. You understand? But that don't say I go in and violate a girl because Lady So say that. No, it's not. Again, people have to take ownership and responsibility and start taking accountability for themselves. As parents, as adults, we have to do that. You can't just sit in the ivory tower now and say, okay, we need to censor. Censorship is not going to stop crime. It's not. It's a stupid statement in itself. Because nowhere people play uncensored music. It's already in the space. It's already there. What you have to do is channel that energy in the younger youth. In primary schools, they need to start sending more positive images in primary school. Let little kids start seeing things like, I don't want to go sidetrack like your daughter. Positive image. But you feel like going and take and carry all over the place and show people that they know in their mind that boring. But that is what the kids need to see, that there's always alternative. I grew up in Sanwai, born and bred. I was exposed to the worst of the worst. But luckily for me, there were positive things around that I could aspire to. And that is what I try to do. I try to give children things that they can. That's what Soca Star was. It was a moment for a child to aspire to something great. What they are seeing now in their face is the violence is cool. Once you normalize something and make it cool, that's the danger. And I will bring it back to something simple like alcohol. When we were growing up, fancy drinks was the thing. Hennessy, Alizé, blah, 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 blah. Now, it's White Oak. No disrespect to White Oak. It's not that expensive, but it's cool. When you promote something cool, right now, violence is cool. It's cool to have an AR, to flex on TV, to look like you're a criminal. When you do that, what do you expect? So sensitizing a song or putting a thing on a song is not going to change that.
Thank you.